The layman who is sitting at home, who's glued to their radio now, who's following via social media, is saying, what's in it for me? Why am I supposed to be here listening to? Let me say a few things, Minister Sando. In this president's first year, meaning the 12 months, now we know where we were when we came in with the energy crisis in this country. But I can say here, we've seen several actions being taken. The LEC interim management team signed a new power purchasing agreement with the Côte d'Ivoire, which has brought some level of stability. We're not where we want to be, but at least not only that, we saw the president broke ground for the construction of the 17.5 megawatt solar farm, and which I've been told he has already requested that be increased to up to 30 megawatts. The president recently announced in Bomi, in third member, that there will be a construction of a 75 megawatt solar farm there again. So that too could add to the grid. So technically, if care is not taken, so for me, Minister Sando spoke on our international country of being referred to as one of those nations where its passport were in the hands of drug law, and things like that, where government officials being sanctioned. This government has restored that. We've seen President Boakai engaging on the world stage, where he's not just been a participant, where he's been engaging everywhere he has gone. He's been playing a major role at the United Nations the other day before when he was at the UNGA, even at African summits regionally, even here in the Mano region. So for me today, we don't know who the president meet with. So today the president will really be able to tell us all the meetings he's been holding, what's in it for the Liberian people, what is it he's been able to accomplish. I know several of his ministers have been doing a lot, whether we want to look in the petroleum sector. His LPRC has been able to drop gasoline prices 4 times in 1 year. The central bank the other day talked about in terms of it has reduced trade deficit from where it was. So on the state of the economy as a whole, we look forward to see the Ministry of Finance confirmed the other day from the Deputy Minister I heard on one of the local podcasts. The economy grew by 5.1%. So all those different things, when you put them together, the president today, when he laid out his report and talk about what he hoped to accomplish again this year, I mean, I would just say this is an exciting moment for the country and for all Liberians, Mr. Black.
Well, certainly it is. And the State of the Nation address really gives the public, the citizen, the time to see something about the character of the leader. The State of the Union message reflects in many ways their character, the priority they attach to which they attach their legislative agenda, and I think we'll be seeing that today. And I don't know how we're going to compete with this noise.
No, you call the people. Some music there in the background. We thought it was Liberia is improving. LBS is not even affecting our coverage.
Like I said, President.
They say it's not affecting us.
Like I said, President Roberts delivered his first State of the Union address on January 5, 1848. Let me just read a line from him here. He says, "Gentlemen." Of course, at those days, everybody he was speaking to was a man. He said, "It will be pleasing. Indeed, I should be exceedingly gratified to avail myself of the present occasion to take a minute, a minute view of our Constitution, to investigate its principles, and to remark upon the connection and use of its several parts." And then he goes on, there in that address, he really began to make the argument for a constitutional democracy. Liberia was a new country then. He goes on, as in a state of nature, however much happiness cannot be enjoyed by individual, it has been confirmed to the inclination of almost all men to enter into a political society, so continue as to remove the inconvenience they were delegated to submit. And there, Roberts, you know, we thought our founding fathers were not that formally educated, but they were educated men.
They were educated men.
And he was quoting the great English political philosopher, Thomas Hobbes.
Thomas Hobbes. Yes.
You know, we live in a state of nature when
state of
life
nature.
is nasty, brutish, and short until we form government to provide us order and stability. And much of that Roberts address, he goes into making the argument for a constitutional democracy, why men form political society, why men surrender the rights they have in nature, you know, for the blessing of a government that will provide them peace and stability. And that reasoning was in much of the State of the Union address, State of the Nation addresses of the first full presidents, as the country was fairly new. As the country progressed, matured and stabilized, a lot of attention then turned to how to handle the difficult economic situation they face at its birth, and frankly that they continue to face today. And like we said, some of the things we'll be seeing President Joseph Boakai talk today. I see we have some picture on the screen there.
Sure.
Who's coming in there, George?
I see Deputy Minister Johnny Takpa, and I see Assistant Minister May Louisa Noah Hill. She's coming to identify the person in the bag. I see, is that Honorable Clarence Masakwe?
Who is he?
Former representative of Kulahun District,
Lofa County.
Lofa County. Okay. Is that Mr. DeWitt Vimbomos, the NASCAR boss? Okay.
Yeah, the grounds of the capital.
I see Mr. Patrick Hona, the acting, one of the acting commissioners of the board of the LTA.
Well, the grounds of the capital is.
Also, government officials are arriving here.
I think that's the deputy director for the food agency, food assistance agency just passed. Just looking at shots from the walkway there.
Well, the grounds of the capital is gradually filling up. Let me learn. It's part of the pomp and pageantry of this ceremony. We'll see more of that. The podium there is already ready and prepared for the president and people who will be up there. And you were saying, Daniel, go ahead.
So somebody was joking me and said this program is so special that this is the only event that the president does not have a seat to sit.
No.
This is the only event in the history of the country that the president does not have a seat to sit. The president enters usually will be held in the joint chamber, the William Albert Turbo joint chamber of the legislature. But the December 18 incident caused us a major setback. And I just look at history size a bit. This capital, the foundational cornerstone for this capital was laid on December 18, 1948. On December 18, 2024, the capital was burned. It should be of historical significance to our people, because these are historical occurrences that shape the future of the dynamics of the country. This place, we consider it the seat of the Liberian democracy. This is where every district in this country is represented. Every district. And those districts comprises individuals who form political constituents. Every political constituent is represented here at the national legislature. So this is a seat of the Liberian democracy. The cornerstone was laid December 18, 1948, and like I said, on December 18, 2024, it got burned.
It's almost 76 years. Man.
76 years after.
CJ?
76 years after.
Huh? No. I'm at the capital.
76 years after. They got destroyed, and they have placed.
Okay, I'll do that.
They have placed the cost of the damage has been put at an initial 1.8 million, 1.8 million, and we now have to figure as a country what we can do, because there's a historical site. Normally this program wouldn't be held in the outdoor area.
No.
It should be held in the joint chambers where dignitaries, officials of government, the three branches of government were assembled to listen to the president, deliver his message. But because of that, disastrous occurrence, we're now out here in the open to ensure that the president can fulfill this constitutional obligation. I just thought to make that intervention.
Great. Josh, you haven't got something to add there?
Again, just looking at the mood out here on the grounds of the Capitol building, schools of government officials arriving. When we look on the podium there now, we do see that the gender minister is seated. The minister of health is also up there, Minister Poto. Also the director general of the civil service agency, Honorable Josiah Jeka, is seated. And so again, the far left there, we can see the labor minister who was here earlier. He's also seated. And we'll continue to inform you as they arrive. But we see the dignitaries are coming in. I see the Honorable Ambassador Elijah, Mr. Ambassador Charles Snyder there, standing with Assistant Minister George Saab. And so just looking at the government officials arriving, folks, this is an important function. We cannot overstress the significance of this. You just gave out the historical importance of this day, what it means for the president. Because basically today is the only day the president gets to speak. Basically today is the only time the president shows his report card. After today, he ain't got nothing to say here again until next year on the fourth working Monday. So technically at this particular point in time, I'm going to encourage all Liberians. You've heard some things from ministers. You've heard some things from different radio stations. Today you get to hear from the man himself. Today you get the final report, because every minister, I'm pretty sure, has reported to their boss. Every director general has reported to their boss, because the message that he will be giving today, the presentation and the deliberation of the president, one which is going to speak to the state of the economy of the country, I believe encapsulate everything from performances from all of his officials. So this day today, for me, is a great moment, especially for President Joseph Boakai. Look, he came in at the time where, look, I say record that fateful September 17, when I saw Liberian march under the ring in those waters, desperately sending a message. And his first State of the Nation address, one which we could not blame him. We can say, oh, he was new, it was 1 week. Today is important. He has been there for over 12 months. We want to hear what has been accomplished, and we want to also hear what he's working on. So for me, this day marks a whole lot, because this will tell us where we're going. Because based on what you tell us, we'll know if he has been performing or not. So for me, I think it's very, very important, like you said. Like every other president who's spoken before President Boakai has spoken about the need for the republic to remain civil, constitutional democracy. And I know President Boakai has been speaking of the rule of law, which is embedded in the arrest and channel. This day cannot be giving order that's happened, the fire incident, now what it will cost to get this place back, this historical building, and other fire incidents that's where that we're dealing with. So I'm looking forward to this address. I just can't wait, man, and that's where I am. So I'm excited. I'm super happy, and just can't wait for this moment.
We should note that the ushering of guests started at 2:30 and will end at about 3:50, and then 10 minutes after that, the president will speak. At 2:50, which is in about 7 minutes, the Chief of Protocol of the Republic of Liberia will announce the arrival of members of the Council of Protocol. Then at about 2:55, the Chief of Protocol of the Republic will announce the arrival of heads of international organizations. And then at 3 p.m., the Chief of Protocol will announce the arrival of Their Excellencies, the Dorians, and members of the Diplomatic Corps. And at about 3:05, the Chief of Protocol will announce the arrival of the Dean, that is the Foreign Minister, and members of the Liberian Cabinet. And then at about 3:10, there will be announced the arrival of the former heads of state, former vice president, former speakers, and former chief justices of the Supreme Court of Liberia, as well as the president pro tempore of the Liberian Senate. That's Senator Nyamdi Lawrence. And at that time, all will rise. And then at 3:15, the chief of protocol will announce the arrival of Her Honor, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of Liberia. And then at 3:55, the chief of protocol will announce the arrival of the Vice President of Liberia, Jeremiah Pancon, and then as well as the Vice President, and will take her seat to the left of the Speaker. And then about 3:45, the Sergeant of Arms of the Honorable House of Representatives will announce the opening of the second joint session of the 55th Legislature of Liberia. At 3:50, the Joint Executive Committee of both houses of the Liberian Legislature will meet the President of the Republic of Liberia at the main entrance to the capital. All will arrive, and then at 4 o'clock, the President will begin delivering his State of the Nation address. And once he finishes, he will depart the grounds of the capital. So we are into the swing of things, as it were, counting down about an hour, 15 minutes left for us to begin hearing the President speak. There, what you're seeing on your television screen there is the stage, the podium from which the President will be speaking. He will be flanked by the President of the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Bobo, what say you?
As we see other government officials arriving, other ministers, the commissioner, the maritime commissioner just walked past. Nuto Zaza Lai. Maritime is one of those key revenue generating areas of the government, and then so all these different ministries. But like you said, the stage is set. The President will walk in here today, and he will give his legislative agenda for 2025. But he will also report to the Liberian people, and based on the job he has done. And I think it's a good thing, because many of our brothers and sisters who are out there waiting, eager to hear what is being done. I mean, some of them see infrastructure development, they see roads being constructed in our communities now, but they want to know what other things that the President been working on. I know, Mr. Clement, right after this address, the President will be departing Liberia today. He will be heading to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to attend the World Bank and African Development Bank Energy Summit, or the 300 Summit, where the World Bank and the IMF and the African Development Bank, the goal is to provide energy, electricity to 300 million persons. And Liberia has been selected as one of the 15 African countries where the goal is to increase energy availability to its citizens by 60% from now to 2030. So this is key. Immediately after the President will be heading to the airport where he will depart Liberia today. So the President had to be here today. His advance team and other ministers, other government officials have already left. They are in Tanzania, but awaiting the President. So this deliberation for the President, I mean, it could not have come any later than today. And this is a constitutional mandate that he is fulfilling here. So it's not to say he had to wait, that after this speech has been delivered before he can depart. But I would just say this, because many of us who, like ordinary people, we ride in Texas with them, we walk with them, we see them in grocery stores. They want to know what is their government doing to improve their life. They want to know how is the President they elected, they voted for, what is he doing or what has he done. Now that he has been there for 12 months, today he's going to be telling them what he has done, and he's going to be speaking for all of his ministers. So this day, I mean, it cannot be, the importance of this day cannot be underscored. And so as I see government officials arriving at the grounds of the Capitol building, I know many Liberians, President Boakai coming into power, had high expectations of him, or what they expected from him. And today we'll speak to that, because after this, now tomorrow we'll begin to listen to the public, to hear from them after listening to their commander-in-chief, their president, the 26th president of the Republic of Liberia, based on his performances. Now they will begin to grade his performance. So this means a whole lot for President Boakai, because this could also have an impact in public perception.
All right, thank you, George Lobo. I think we'll let the camera roam a little bit.
Yeah.
And let our audience get a feel for what's happening on the ground. And we'll take a pause and just get you appreciate the music that's being played in the background and the crowd and people as they make their way onto the grounds here.
Okay. So back to control.
Hush! Instead of the union address,
they put them here already. No, that. Yeah, la put.
right now we're on pause.
Já conversar com mulher. Let me get.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome once again to the Liberia Broadcasting System's live coverage of the State of the Nation address by President Joseph Boakai. This is going to be his second State of the Union address. The first was given last year, just about on January 25th or so. As we've said previously, this is constitutionally mandated, required by Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, which imposes upon the President the duty of reporting to the legislature and through the legislature to the Liberian people about the state of the nation. His legislative program for the year, or upcoming legislative program, as well as reporting on the state of the national economy. This is one of the great rituals of our democracy, a truly state function with all the accompanying pomp and pageantry. Soon this place is going to be filled with members of the diplomatic corps, members of government, members of civil society and the media. This harkens back to 1848 when President Joseph Jenkins Ramos, like we said, gave the first State of the Union address on July 5, 1848. He had taken over on July 3rd, 1848. And down through the ages, there have been State of the Nation addresses every year except for a few interruptions, particularly during the Civil War. So this is a long tradition of our governance, part of the principle of accountability enshrined in the Constitution. Josh, what says you? Josh Lobo, host of Nightline on ELTV.
Mr. Clement, like you rightfully stated, I think overall today it marks an important day in our life as a country. The fact that the president will show up here again to fulfill his constitutional requirement, like I said earlier, the president is expected to depart Liberia today immediately after the tsunami. So that speaks to the significance and the president understanding that. That is why he will be up here by 4. If I'm correct, per the constitution, I think by 4 is when he's supposed to be here. We can now announce that the vice president of the republic has just arrived on the grounds of the Capitol building. He's now heading to his office to await the protocol to usher him. And so again, there's lots and lots of other government officials. We see members of the diplomatic corps, the various
distinguished guests, I'm pleased to announce the arrival of the Dean,
the Doyen, and members of the diplomatic corps.
Okay, so the foreign minister, as you can see, is the one. He's just been announced. She's accompanying the foreign. She's accompanying all the different ministers, the ambassadors. As you can see them walking up there to where they're supposed to be seated. I see the Chinese ambassador. And I think there are a lot of different people. There are a lot of different ambassadors. As you can see, they're heading to their seat. But again, this is a good thing because many of our partners, Mr. Clement, that have been supporting us, I think today to give them a sense of understanding as to what we've been able to accomplish with what they've been giving us because we continue to act. So this day is more important in as much as the president will be reporting to the Liberian people as to what he has been able to accomplish and where he intends to take the country for this 2025. I think members of the diplomatic corps as well, they have a stake in it because most of our programs and projects are funded by donors or aid from other countries. So I think it's important that, you might have been supporting the energy sector, don't know what we're doing in the healthcare sector. So today, after the president's deliberation, they will now be able to see other areas the government has been able to affect and then to see if there's way. So the president will be doing a whole lot today with this one speech here. While the street will be reporting to the Liberian people and setting his legislative agenda for 2025, he also will be informing members of our diplomatic corps as to what we've been able to accomplish with the little they've given us as a country. So, like you see out here now, people are taking their seats, and so the atmosphere is different and everybody is excited, especially for now, knowing that President Boakai has had the opportunity for 12 months in power.
Yeah, I think the arrival of members of the diplomatic corps speaks to the fact that this is a truly high state function, right there on the top of diplomatic activities for the year. The president's address to the nation on the state of the nation. Like we previously said, there's been some 156, give or take, of these addresses given by presidents down through the years, the 26th president. I think all the presidents except for Moses Blah gave State of the Union addresses. Not counting the interim presidents. Moses Blah succeeded President Taylor when he departed the country. In terms of number, like we said previously, Joseph Jenkins Roberts, Stephen Allen Benson, Arthur Barkley, Daniel E. Howard all rang up there with 8 State of the Union addresses. Charles Dunbar Burgess King did 10. Edwin Barkley did 13. William R. Talbot did 10 of those. Of course,
Please have your seats.
Marked the end of the First Republic, and President William V. S. Tubman stands in a class of his own, having served 27 years as president. He gave 27 State of the Union addresses. Of course, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did 12. She was in office for 12 years. President Weah did 6. And this is the second of President Boakai. And the State of the Union addresses, like we said, State of the Nation addresses, tend to reflect the character of the president, his emphasis in terms of national development. And but all down through the years, one thing they've kept in common was apprising the nation of the difficult economic challenges the country faces and their approaches to solving those challenges. Those are some of the things we look forward to hearing from President Boakai today in his State of the Nation address, which should be coming up now in less than an hour. George?
Yeah. Folks, for those of you who are following us here, I mean, what we're trying to do basically...
Protocol, please usher the cabinet.
Okay, now they've announced the ushering of the cabinet. So what we're trying to do here is to kind of set the stage for you folks who are out there viewing or who are at home to know what is happening on the grounds of the Capitol building. Like you said, this day, the historical importance of this, over 158 State of the Nation address that have been offered by many presidents in the past. Like you said, President. And the same, what makes it unique is that every one of those different presidents were confronted by different reality at the given point in time. Today, President Boakai has been confronted by a digital, challenging global economy crisis, where the world now we have AI and things like that, where a series of different wars. So the State of the Nation address for that of President Tubman may have been different from that of Torbo, may have been different for President Doe, for that of President Charles Siller. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who was trying to rebuild Liberia. Some of the things she was saying, especially making appeal to donors and other partners. Liberia had just come from the Civil War, and that was the first government.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, I'm pleased to announce the arrival of the day and members of the cabinet.
Beginning to come in, they are ushering, they are walking, coming. The ministers are coming in. It's been led by the team of the cabinet, Madam Sarah Beslo-Yanti, who is the former Affairs Minister of the Republic of Nigeria, and other ministers, as you can see, that are coming in with her. Members of the legislature as well are moving now to take their seats because things are unfolding at a rapid pace at this particular point in time, because we see now that the Vice President is here, the Senate Pro Tem just arrived as well, Senator Yobi Kanga Lawrence. That is Dr. Jasso Jala on the screen. See the Minister of Public Works, Minister of Gender. So a lot is happening here. But I'll say this for ordinary Liberians once again, who are sitting at home. Many of you might want to ask as to what is the importance of this day? Why is it important? Look, it is very, very important because this is the only time you get the president once in a year to come here to tell you for the next 45 minutes or an hour, however long his speech might be or his delivery might be. But this is the only opportunity where the president gets to report on his performance and tell you what he's been doing with the tax you've given to him. So this is a very, very important moment, and I'll say this to you. I understand we have to do things, we have to work, we all got a lot of things to do, but you've heard things from different ministers. Now you get to hear it from the president himself. This time you're not hearing it from the minister, you're not hearing it from the Director General, but you'll be hearing it from the man who appointed the minister, who appointed the Director General. And overall, he will be telling you or what he has done with the resources that he's been asked to manage. Where does he intend to take the country? Because apart from reporting on the expenditure and income of the country and talking about the state of the economy, the president will also take a moment to outline his legislative agenda for the country for the next, for this coming year, the 2025. What are some of the legislation he hopes to get through Congress? What are some of the bills that are in the legislature that he wants to see passed? So it's a very important moment at this particular point in time, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, George. Again, the pomp and pageantry associated with the State of the Nation address. President Boakai just launched his developmental agenda, the ARD, right?
Yes.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, I'm pleased to announce the arrival of the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives.
That plan would be a key feature of his address today, what the government intends to do.
All present.
So
right.
he just announced the Speaker, His Honorable Richie Kuhn, is now walking, he's leading the entire legislature, the members of the 55th legislature, as you can see there.
And this is effectively a joint session of the legislature. And when the legislature meets in joint session, the Speaker of the House presides. And that's why the Speaker is leading the legislature here today, and that by constitution. The Speaker presides, the Speaker representing or heading that branch of government that is closest to the people, the House of Representatives. Like I said, most of the State of the Union addresses are focused on the state of the economy. I was just browsing through the State of the Union, the State of the Nation address given by President Stephen Allen Benson in 1858.
Kindly have your seats.
And there the focus of that address was explaining to the legislature the debt the country owed. At that time it was $24,499.
Can you restate that number again? How much was it?
$24,449.
29.
But if you do the math, $29,499, convert that to Liberian dollars here. Just Google that, $29,400 in 1850. Yeah, just say 29,000 in 1858. What is it worth today?
So I'll just do this with 29,000.
Hello.
Was it 400?
Yeah.
And $59?
Yeah, there about, yeah.
Just divide by 150. Let's do 197.
Yeah, 197.
No, I'm not saying convert it to Liberian. I'm saying convert it to Liberian dollars, US dollars today.
No, we will not be able to.
Yeah, you will.
How you want me to do it? To convert it to what is worth today? It's
Yeah.
29,000. That's US dollars. 29,450 US dollars, man. That's the same amount of. That's the same number today.
Yeah,
No, it's not the same dollar. It's not the same. Yeah, he will tell us soon. No, that's something called the time value of money.
Okay. Oh.
Say you know session, you know local.
Just do Google and
Yeah.
we'll tell you. But to put it short,
Yeah.
that was a debt, and that was a constant.
Anywhere to invest that money, what will be value today? Okay,
That was a constant theme through many of the State of the Union, State of the Nation addresses given. The difficulty the country faced economically, the difficulty it faced just consolidating its territory, and a particular president's plan for dealing with that problem. So today, in that line, we do expect President Boakai to paint a picture of the State of the Nation's economy and his plans for addressing the challenges that are impeding progress and development, particularly expounding on his development agenda that he just launched in the Grand Bassa County. No, just give me the
TV.
So we are pausing for a bit and then let you take in the scene here out on the grounds of the Capitol.
In 1850.
So members of the House of
Okay.
the House of Representatives, members of the House, the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives have arrived. We'll now see
Distinguished
the Vice
ladies
President,
and gentlemen,
President
I'm
pro
pleased to
tempore,
announce the arrival
and
of the
members of the
Vice
Liberian
President
Senate.
of the Republic of
being
Liberia,
announced there by
President of the Senate, and
the Chief
members of the
Protocol
Senate.
Republic of Liberia,
All present,
Madam
please
Anthony
rise.
Wallo. The Vice President, flanked by Abraham Darius DeLong, the Senate Chair of Foreign Affairs. You see Madam President Pro Tempore, Yamdi Kanga Lawrence. She's wearing a very beautiful red dress. And the Senate Chairman of Foreign Affairs, Abraham Darius DeLong, and the Chairman of the Executive, Honorable James P. Bunny.
Here's where it's worth today. So that money.
Senator Albert T. Chie, Prince Mori,
29,000.
Senator Blebo Brown, Senator Johnny Quay, Senator Zoe Emmanuel Peno, Senator Francis S. Dopo. They all now marching towards the
So it will
podium.
be worth today 1 million.
Yeah, so that was what we're owing.
Yeah, so
The
that's
equivalent.
what our debt to today was.
What in 1858?
That is giving the town value of money.
Yes,
The
yeah,
town
but
value of
it's
money.
a lot.
Read that again. Read that again.
1,110.
1,133,483.81.
Yes. Yes.
Today, in today's economy, that's how much we were owing in
In
1950.
1850.
Kindly have your seats.
Stephen Allen Benson, is a normal address. Well,
That was our debt, our country debt portfolio.
yeah, I'm sure it's going
Today,
up.
I record President Boakai inherited a debt portfolio of around 2.5 billion.
2.5 or 2.8?
Well, give or take. So we've been adding, right?
Yeah, we've been alling. We've been alling.
When I remember President, we are first state of the nation address. Former President, we are first state of the nation address. Yeah, NASA inherited, he took a debt of around $900 million. $900 million.
Just under a billion.
Yeah. But when we came in, when this government came in, the debt is at least around $2.5 billion. So there's a huge difference there.
Just the setup out here. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You have to avoid overcrowdedness. There are giant size screens mounted on both the left and right wing of the grounds of the Capitol, so everybody don't have to troop into the stage. On that screens, you see EIBC Live is being relayed to give people at the back a very comfortable view of what will be transpiring on the stage. Because yeah, you're going to see that the sergeant arm of the House of Representatives will crowd the session, to call the session to an order. When that session is called to an order, there will be roll call. When the roll is called, and then after the roll call, they will announce a quorum. When the quorum is announced, the Speaker and Presiding Officer of the House of Representatives will entertain a motion to convene
Session.
the second joint session of the 55th National Legislature.
All right.
When that motion is filed, of course it will be seconded, and then a vote will be taken. Most likely it will be carried, and the Speaker will now instruct the Sergeant at Arms, accompanied by the Chairman or Executive from both houses. I'm giving you the history of why the waitress. Yeah, because I work here for several years. So the speaker will instruct the Sergeant at Arms, accompanied by the Chairman on Executives at the House of Representatives and the Senate. At the House of Representatives is Honorable Sekou Kane. At the Senate is Honorable James P. Bunny, Senator of Maryland County. Sekou Kane is District Number 2 Representative of Mosserado County. They will move to the entrance of the Capitol. At the entrance of the Capitol, they will receive the President. And when they receive the President, the procession will continue into the joint section. the president automatically mounts the podium. The national anthem is played by the AFL marching band, and the president begins to deliver his message.
And all of that should happen in just about 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes time, yes.
President Boakai will mount the podium and deliver his second State of the Nation.
On the podium, we can see the arrival of the Information Minister, General Matthew. Yeah, and the Cabinet Director General, Kwabo. Also, while we're speaking with Minister Sade, we witnessed the arrival of the National Investment Commission, Jeff Lugo.
Yeah, Jeff Lugo, the chairperson of the National Investment Commission.
Nice.
Yes, but it's a beautiful afternoon here on the Capitol. The weather is very friendly. Given the fact that we have experienced heavy downpour of rain for the last 2 days in Monrovia, the weather today is very comfortable for this event. It's an outdoor event that's being held here on the grounds of the Capitol. Was there any point in time in history where the State of the Nation address was held out here?
Yeah, he's a veteran, so
I think the tradition was always held in the Rotunda. I think we're here because of a specific unfortunate circumstance, the burning of the Rotunda.
Yes.
And as you know, the old capital for many time was at what is now the
Executive Pavilion.
Now in the National Museum.
Okay.
It has
the National Museum.
It housed the legislature for a long time. Like you said, the cornerstone for this was in late 1948. Represents some of the development that came here under President Tubman, the building of the Capitol, the building of the Executive Mansion, and the building of the Supreme Court building. Like I said, each president's State of the Union address reflects his character, reflects his priorities, his approach to government. Can't help but repeating that the different periods in our history dictated the content of the President's State of the Union.
So you might want to read this for our audience.
In the early years of our independence, when the nation was still trying to get its feet planted, the first 4 presidents, Robert Benson, Warner, and Payne, and their emphasis all was on speaking to the country about the struggle of forming this new nation, on accounting and the difficulty of gone through, the belief in providence as shaping Liberia's future. Subsequent president focused on the economic difficulties the country faced. And the Capitol building in Monrovia under construction. There's a prayer that was offered.
Yeah, the prayer. Let me read the prayer that was offered. So it says the prayer on this important occasion was offered by the Reverend Dr. John Moore, President of the Liberia Baptist Missionary Education Convention. What he said? See what he said. He said, "Oh, eternal and all-wise God, the supreme ruler of heaven and earth, the giver of all good and perfect gifts, the only God, in the name we have assembled at this place for the purpose of laying this cornerstone to thy glory and for thy prosperity of that nation, to realize that thou art the great cornerstone of the world upon which nations are built. We dare not assume any responsibility of ours as a nation." So he want this. So it was. I mean, ours a nation founded, like we always say, on the foundation of Christian principles. So it was a powerful prayer offered by the Reverend on that fateful day in December 18 of 1948, where the cornerstone was laid here by this Capitol building. So today we are here. We enter into a new era of our history where, for the first time in recent memory, the State of the Nation address is being held on the open in the courtyard of the Capitol, which is good. I see the setup here, very, very beautiful setup. What I really do admire is the fact that they have giant style screens plenty out there. So you see the speaker is already seated with his gavel before him. The Right Honorable Richie Nambekum He's representative of Electoral District number 11, Monserrado County, elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, Republic of Liberia. So it is, how many more minutes do we have?
Well, we're at 3:34, so just
3:34,
tell me-
26.
I'm looking on the Facebook page here, and people telling me, people saying I'm watching from Kanta. Somebody's watching from Antwerp, that's in Brussels. Somebody's watching from Sino County. Somebody's watching from Central Monrovia. Somebody's watching from Wazon City in Grand Bassa.
Wazon City.
Somebody's watching from Margibi. Somebody's watching from Nimba County. I mean, so it tell you the
excitement
breadth of our coverage.
Yeah. People are following from all across the world. I just spoke with the LBF boss. He said they had, just to expand the coverage of this event, they had they got real stable internet to ensure that LNTV is on uninterruptedly, which is good. It's a national broadcaster. We have to always be able to inform the people real time. People on the TV right now, we live in the age of social media. Social media has overtaken what we refer to as the traditional media that used to be dominated by the likes of Kwame Clement, the LNTV Action News, I'm told. So today, social media, you're walking with the war in your hand. So don't be surprised, there will be people following us from across the globe. Across the globe, least to mention the 15 counties of Liberia, because the internet coverage is accessible in most part of the country, and people are now moving about to follow every event that unfolds, whether it's in the government, it's in your private life. Once it gets out there, every citizen moving with cell phone is a journalist. That's the power. That's the power of social media. You have the world in your palm, and you move with it. You can broadcast from anywhere. You can
This place is getting crowded, right? People are coming in. Like I said, that's a book by Dr. Edward Dunn called The Annual Messages of Presidents of Liberia from 1848 to 2010.
Yes.
So it covers the addresses by President Robert, our first president, down to Ellen Shirley Johnson up to 2010. And reading those addresses give you a peek into Liberia history at any moment in time. They tell you something about the president and the challenges they face and the opportunities they face as well. The addresses by Edwin Barclay in the early term of his presidency really paint the picture of the difficulty Liberia faced following the financial crisis, when we almost lost our independence, became a trustee of the League of Nations. And it was difficult time in our history, thanks to the skills and sagacious leadership of President Barclay. We were able to navigate those periods. President Todman took over, enunciated his open door policy, his unification and integration policy. And the addresses that he gave too spoke to his emphasis on opening the economy to foreign investors that saw a tremendous spike in Liberia's growth. President Talbot took over, of course, and that was a time of severe economic challenges. The Arab oil embargo of 1973 following the Yom Kippur Israeli-Arab war led to sharp increases in prices of basic commodities. That coupled with a decline in the price of iron ore, our major export, created a difficult economic situation that President Talbot had to navigate. And some of that in many ways contributed to the difficult instability we faced during that time. Of course, President Doe took over as a military leader and continued the tradition of a State of the Union. Then we had the war, Mr. Taylor. And then, of course, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf literally became our first president again, in effect, shepherding us after the brutal Civil War. Well, literally, we ended the Second Republic. And it is in keeping with that tradition that we gather here today, the pomp and circumstance, one of the great rituals of a democracy when the president accounts to the people through the legislation.
So all of the speeches that you have perused in that book written by Dr. Edward Dunn, Which president has given the longest, the length of the speech? Is there any required length?
I don't know. There's no required length. Some went on long. Robert's first address was pretty brief, and like I said, that address really, it was more like an address on political philosophy, political science.
The foundation of the state.
Yeah, why we're forming this new thing called Liberia, why this new body politic, and he was harkening back, and you read like a political philosopher. He was harkening back to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, John Locke, Thomas Hobbes. The whole idea of people coming together to surrender some of their natural rights for the protection that they get from a government. And I think some of Barclay's address, the two Barclays, Anthony Barclay, particularly with his interior policy, and Edwin Barclay following the collapse of the effort to have Liberia lose her sovereignty. Those were very substantive addresses that painted a picture of the difficulty the country faced in the community.
So that tells you that the foundation of our country was not a walk through the park.
It's not rosy, no.
It was not a walk through the park.
No, not at all. Ours is a fabulous history. I think in many ways it speaks to the resilience of a people. I mean, just think about it. People leaving the comfort of the United States, braving ships aboard the Atlantic, rickety ships literally, and landing here in over 200 years ago with the indigenous brother to make here to form. It was not rosy like we know. The early struggles between the settler and indigenous, but over time we formed a unique border politic that have incorporated all of our people. And I think you look back, part of the lessons we learned from our history is not to focus on fixing the blame or claiming the victory for the past, but really as a people to see how we can chart a new course and live up to the great promise that is Liberia.
Yes.
That here on these shows we will build a country that will truly be a place where we can live in peace, prosperity, and liberty. Like we say, a sweet land of liberty and prosperity for all. That's the promise of Liberia.
Living up to that dream.
And that's what we're
Minister
reminded
Sandra,
of.
right? You are basically, you come from a ministry that speaks for the government, right? So you've had the opportunity for the past 12 months to speak for the government as to some of the accomplishments and successes, gains being made. What can you say today that Liberians will be listening to this soon can anticipate to hear from President Boakai? Give us a sense, because I'm pretty sure you've hosted all the different ministers, directors at Nika, various press briefings every Tuesdays and Thursdays. What is it can our people look for today?
Well, not to do a commentary of the things I already lay out to that question. Not to do a commentary of what I already said, but basically, the president is going to speak to the overall state of the economy, where the country is. The other day we announced that the economy is projected to grow by 5.1% by the fiscal managers, which is a good thing for our country, right? Let's see you talk about. There are a couple of issues that are of concern to many Liberians. Job creation, for example. Unemployment is high among the country's youthful population. Well, I know that the government cannot employ everybody, but the fundamental responsibility that the government has got is to create that enabling environment, attract the necessary foreign direct investment, so that you can begin to create jobs. Because when investors come here, establish their businesses, they're going to employ Liberians, right? So the president is going to be showing light on where we are in terms of bilateral, multilateral conversation with the goal of growing the economy. The president is also going to be talking about some of the bread and butter issues, apart from job creation. For example, we talk about salary tops up for civil servants. Literally, this is the first budget the government had, the budget that was just passed by the legislature. The first budget that we used in the last 1 year was a budget that we inherited from the CDC government, right? So not much we could do. There were a lot of bottlenecks created, fiscal bottlenecks, that we try to navigate our way through. Yes, successfully we came through it. We now have a budget that reflects the philosophy of the rescue government, right? What's that budget done? That budget has provided ensuring coverage for 5,000 police officers. That budget will increase as of this January increase the salary of some 28,400 civil servants, particularly in the health sector, in the education, health, and security sector. So the ERU officers, the police officers, PSU, the EPS, immigration officer, about all of them combined, teachers, health workers, 28,400 of them to receive salary top-ups. Top-up would mean that, for example, in some category, they are $50. In some category, they are $30. In some category, they are $40, right? In the case of the health workers, they will receive salary top-up, but particularly the specialized doctors will receive $250 in salary top-up. It's an initial, okay, so you see the gavel is being pounded by the Sergeant Arm.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker,
Sergeant Arm,
the President of the Liberian Senate,
Representative,
and members of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor at this time to announce to you the second joint session of the 55th Legislature for the purpose of the President of the Republic of Liberia to deliver his annual message. And now, therefore, this session is hereby called to order, and it is hereby so ordered.
His Excellency Chairman Panko, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia and President of the Liberian Senate, Senator Yombi Kanga Lawrence, President Pro Tem of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Thomas P. Fala, Doyen and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in fulfillment of Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, we have gathered here for the President of the Republic of Liberia to deliver his annual message. Distinguished colleagues, the Chair will now entertain a motion to convene in the joint legislative section of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia. Honorable James M. Colette, Representative Electoral District Number 2, Bon County.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Pro Tem, Honorable Deputy, distinguished colleagues, I, James McClyde Colette of Electoral District Number 2, Bon County, move, if I can obtain a second, that this legislative section be conveyed to a joint legislative section for the sole purpose of the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yiman Boakai Sr., to deliver the State of the Nation address. If I can obtain a second.
Honorable Taba Vampla of Cape Mark County, Senator.
I, Taba Mabane Vapila, Senator Grand Cape Mark County, do hereby second the motion.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, without restating the motion, are you all ready to vote? All those in favor, make it known by saying yea. Those against, nay. All those abstain, raise your right hand. With the yea having the vote, the motion is hereby carried, and it is hereby so ordered. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the motion to convene in the joint section that have been put and carried, we now ask the Deputy Chief Clerk of the Honorable House of Representatives to give us an information as to the quorum that will allow us to do the Liberian people business.
Honorable Rachel Namekun, Speaker, House of Representatives and Presiding Officer of this joint sitting, His Excellency Jeremiah Bankun, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia and President of the Liberian Senate, Senator Nyombili Kanga Lawrence, President pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Thomas P. Fala, Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, distinguished members of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, I am honored at this time to announce to you that records from the desk of the Secretary of Senate and mine indicate that there is a quorum for the transaction of business for today, which is for the purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nyema Boakai Sr., to deliver the State of the Nation address to the Liberian people. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chief Clerk. Honorable colleagues, with a report from the Deputy Chief Clerk that this August body has the requisite quorum to do transaction for today, we have convened in this joint section for the President of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai Sr., to deliver his State of the Nation address. Therefore, I will ask the member of the Joint Committee on Executive, along with the Sergeant at Arms, to proceed to the chairman first. Please meet the chair. The Joint Committee on Executive. Please meet the chair. You gotta come back. Yeah. I want to present. Maybe let me present. Approach the chair. No.
Mr. Speaker and members of the 55th Legislature, the arrival of the President of the Republic of Liberia. You all rise.
All right, please have a seat. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the House of Representatives, Madam Pro Tem, members of the Senate, Associate Justices, members of the Judiciary, Madam Katumuwa Boakai, First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, heads of and officials of political parties, prelates, members of religious organizations, our international and local partners, traditional leaders, chiefs and elders, my fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We thank God Almighty, the preserver of our nation, and are grateful for his blessing upon us over the past 12 months and nearly 2 centuries of nationhood. As our work continues to confront vexing challenges, some existential We must strive for a better and more peaceful, sustainable, and inclusive global community. Please permit me to take this moment to express my profound thanks and heartfelt gratitude to you, the people of Liberia, for your unwavering commitment to the peace and stability of our beloved country. Your dedication to keeping the peace reflects our conviction that progress must be grounded in unity and national solidarity. Mr. Speaker, and the honorable members of the legislature, we're here today in keeping with Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, which mandates the President to deliver an annual message outlining the legislative agenda, report on the state of the economy and the general affairs of the Republic. A year ago, we addressed the citizens of this Republic through you, following an epoch-defining transition that captivated the democratic world. At that time, we stood within the revered walls of the Capitol building, an enduring symbol of our democracy bestowed upon us by our forebears. Now, a year after the historic transition, we face a moment of truth that our democracy can be threatened by those who oppose the steady progress. However, the fact that we are reporting on our stewardship here today on the grounds of the People's House recently damaged by fire highlights the resilience of the Liberian people. I assure you that the security of the state and the sanctity of our republic, though may be assailed, may be threatened, however, it can never be broken. It will be preserved. No one's personal ambition can ever outweigh the importance of our peace and security. This rescue train is moving, and all those harboring mental reservations to hop on the boat and let us proceed with the business of the Liberian people together. Compatriots, when we assume leadership, we did so with a clear agenda, fully aware that the journey ahead will not be easy. We started with a 100-day plan to implement immediate measures aimed at addressing the people's needs and aspirations, providing relief from years of hardship and uncertainty. Even with limited resources, we made real progress in many areas after the first quarter. We improved public sector accountability and work on the road infrastructure while addressing issues in agriculture, health, education, technology, drug abuse, alongside key legislation. We recognize the immense challenges that lie before us, and though many problems persist, our country stands in a better place today than when we first began. I have dedicated countless hours to the welfare of the Liberian people, and with your unwavering support, we remain optimistic about the future of our promised nation. It is our faith in that promise that drives our vision for progress. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and esteemed members of the 55th Legislature, as we come to fulfill our constitutional duty, I commend each of you for your hard work, particularly in passing 11 legislations, one joint resolution. The passage of the Act authorizing government to spend $41.3 million in February 2024, pending the approval of the budget, demonstrates your commitment to addressing urgent needs and funding development across all sectors. However, we must act swiftly on the outstanding proposals before us: the Presidential Transition Bill, the National Tourism Bill, and the Local Government Bill, among others. We also urge prompt attention to Bank Financial Institutions and Bank Financial Holding Companies Act of 2024 and the new zoning law that will impact national budget, 6 financing agreements to support economic growth, and 2 bills aimed at improving education and tax system. To empower young people and equip them with the skills necessary to meet national needs, we propose the Liberia Youth Services Program, LISEP, and the Technical and Vocational Education Training TVET Commission Act of 2024. Looking ahead, I will be submitting new legislative proposals, including the Amended Payment System Act, the Liberia Insurance Regulatory Commission Act, and the Revised Code of Conduct for Public Officials. Additionally, we will propose refunds in the state-owned enterprises through the establishment of State-Owned Enterprise Authority of Liberia, SEAL. These proposals are designed to improve governance, foster growth, promote transparency, and empower our citizens, paving the way for a better future for all. Delays in acting on them could jeopardize the success of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, AAID. In the year under review, we also issued 14 executive orders addressing the urgent needs of the government, including those establishing the Office of the War and Economic Crime Court and National Railway Authority. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tem, and members of the 5th Legislature, Article 3 of our Constitution describes our government as a republic with 3 separate and coordinated branches. We must strengthen cooperation and dialogue across all branches of government with transparency and mutual respect. We must work together as partners in governance, united by our common goal of improving the lives of the Liberian people. We must therefore remain focused on the shared goal of progress and prosperity for the Republic. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tem, esteemed members of the Legislature, allow me to give you some perspective to further understand where we are today. We inherited an economy in steep decline, with Liberians facing unprecedented hardship, including rising unemployment, inflation, and growing inequality. Before our administration, growth slowed to just 4.6%, while inflation surged to a double digit of 10.1%, driven largely by rising food and fuel prices. The current account debt at the time had worsened to 26.4% of the GDP. International reserves were dangerously low, just about 2.1 months of import cover, and debt burden had ballooned to $2.5 billion, with 54.6% of the GDP. Civil servants were facing extreme hardship due to pay harmonization and delayed salary payments, leaving them vulnerable to payday lenders and informal financial schemes like Susu clubs. We We simply did not just recognize these challenges and their impact on our citizens. We took decisive action to increase salaries of health workers, the police, and the teachers. We have taken steps necessary to restore economic stability and have made good progress. In 2024, our economy demonstrated resilience and steady growth with a revised real GDP growth of 5.1%. Key sectors driving the growth include mining, agriculture, fisheries, and services. Strategic investment in infrastructure and energy deployment, supported by international partners such as the World Bank, African Development Bank, the European Union, USAID, further bolstered this expansion. We have managed inflation prudently, reducing it to 7.7% by the end of 2024, down from 10.1% in 2023, thanks to the sound fiscal and monetary policies. We expect inflation to decrease further to 6% in 2025. The country's international reserve have improved to $458.9 million, and the Liberian dollar has appreciated by 4.7% against the US dollar. The General Bank has reduced the monetary policy rate from 20% to 17%, boosting confidence in the financial system. As a result, private sector credit had increased by 9.1%. Efforts to strengthen the financial governance are underway, focusing on reducing operational costs and addressing audit recommendations. Our participation in the IMF Extended Credit Facility as ECF program will help rebuild reserves, strengthen fiscal policy, and enhance domestic revenue through improved tax collection and streamlined exemptions. We have also made progress in modernizing financial system, improving access to finance from micro, small, and medium enterprises, and increasing financial inclusion, which now covers 52% of the audit population. Implementing the National Electronic Payment System and transition to cashless economy further demonstrate our commitment to a stable, inclusive, and resilient economy. The insurance sector is also being strengthened with reforms underway to establish an independent insurance commission. The establishment of a special economic zone will further diversify the economy, promote job creation, and foster inclusive development. Honorable legislators, over the past year, my administration has focused on transforming Liberia's investment climate. We are implementing policy changes to attract investment, including simplifying regulations, reducing red tape, and strengthening legal framework, while ensuring social protection and local empowerment. We have engaged both domestic and international investors, showcasing Liberia as a land of untapped opportunities. While some key agreements are still pending, I am pleased to report that we are actively negotiating with major multinational companies in energy, mining, agriculture, infrastructure, and technology. Once finalized, these negotiations are expected to bring over $3 billion in investment to our economy. Looking ahead, we anticipate a promising medium-term outlook with expected growth rate of 5.8% in 2025. We successfully passed the 2025 national budget in the amount of 880.7 million before the start of the fiscal year. The first time this has happened in the post-conflict period. Passage of the budget before the start of the fiscal year will also make the execution of the national budget more predictable and efficient. For many years, the government neglected to remit county development and social development funds to the counties, depriving citizens of essential resources for local government and development. However, we have begun reversing this trend by ensuring that these funds allocations for 2024 were fully disbursed to the counties. Also, for the first time in years, the government remitted to the road fund all road fund related revenue deposited in consolidated fund for enabling the implementation of several road rehabilitation and maintenance work during the year. The government arrests agenda for inclusive development AAID together with the county development agendas will help propel these efforts forward. Fellow citizens, while we have yet to reach optimal levels, our ongoing efforts will improve the livelihood of all Liberians. Despite global trends affecting community supply and prices, we have seen consistent declines in the cost of essential commodities, including rice and petroleum products. The price of 25 kg IR64 parboiled rice was reduced within the first 2 months of our leadership. In addition, we successfully implemented the measure to reduce pump prices, lowering the price of premium motor spirit PMS by 12.53% from $4.47 in January to $3.91 in December 2024. In fiscal year 2024, in the face of global challenges, Liberia made remarkable progress in domestic revenue mobilization. We collected 734,077 million in revenue, out of which domestic revenue collection stood at an impressive 695.3 million, a 12% growth over the previous year. This achievement marks the highest domestic revenue collection in our nation's history. On the expenditure side, we spent a total of 661.4 million to execute the government functions and projects. To strengthen progress, we have implemented needed tax reforms, introducing the value-added tax VAT in April 2024 to replace the outdated goods and services tax GST. We are also investing in digital tax administration and building state-of-the-art customs inspection facility at the Freeport of Monrovia to increase efficiency and expand our tax base. These interventions and reforms align with the regional standard, improve tax compliance, and are expected to create a more stable revenue stream for the future. The Rabas International Airport, a vital gateway to Liberia and a potential driver of economic development, has faced operational challenges. However, under this administration, we have charted a new course, making significant strides to unlock its promise as a regional hub. To enhance safety and operations at the airport, we have invested additional fire trucks, backup generators, and navigational aids. Ongoing engagements with developers are focused on expanding the airport and improving its infrastructure and management. These initiatives still instill confidence among global airline operators and travelers, reflecting our commitment to positioning Liberia as an attractive destination for global business travel. Recently, we welcomed Ethiopian Airlines, which connects Liberia to over 150 global destinations and reduce air travel costs at key markets, including the USA, Europe, and Dubai. We are also in advanced discussion with carriers like Qatar Airways to establish our air service agreement. My government has worked tirelessly to rebuild trust with international financial institutions and donor community. In 2024, we secured $210 million financing package from the IMF Extended Credit Facility, ECF, to address macroeconomic imbalances and improve debt sustainability from 2024 to 2027. Our inclusion in the ECF has unlocked support from both multinational and bilateral partners. The World Bank provided $60 million in support, yet $40 million of which was budget support, and the balance $20 million went to Special Disaster Fund for Liberia to be administered by Liberia. The World Bank has also pledged $40 million in the budget support for the year, for this year and 2026. We secured a $16 million grant from the European Union for 2025 to 2027, while the African Development Bank provided $40 million for road projects. During the period under review, Liberia also received $398.2 million in up-budget official development assistance for critical sectors such as health, agriculture, and infrastructure. I am pleased to inform you that bilateral relations have secured a commitment from government of the United States for the Millennium Challenge Corporation MCC Compact eligibility. This is a significant achievement as it potentially exposes Liberia to substantial financial support in its development when completed in a couple of years. This milestone reflects confidence in the step we've taken as a nation, particularly in promoting transparency, making sound economic decisions, and strengthening governance. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, Liberia's development challenges are historical, yet our current national circumstances dictate urgent action. Upon coming to office, my government immediately began forming a new national development plan and counter development agenda, CDA, for the next 5 years. I am pleased to report that the plan and the 15 county agenda have been meticulously developed and validated by stakeholders across the country. They received strong endorsement from the Cabinet, the National Steering Committee, and our international partners, leading to a successful launch on January 15, 2025. This initiative, known as the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, AID, is built on foundations of the Pro-Poor Agenda for Prosperity and the Development and the Agenda for Transformation. The AID is a set to Cape Vision 2023, Liberia's ambitious goal of becoming a more capable and developmental state, ultimately achieving lower middle income status. The arrest agenda aims to drive economic transformation from diversification focusing on agriculture, rural development, and infrastructure. It emphasizes the rule of law, improved governance, and anti-corruption. The agenda also seeks to invest in human capital by transforming the education system, fostering technology and innovation, prioritizing public health and sanitation, promoting tourism and environmental sustainability. The total estimated cost of the transformative development plan is $8.4 billion. Our total 60% of the funding will come from the government and international donors, with the remaining from private sector investment. The success of AID and the counter development agendas will also depend on the active participation of our youth. We are dedicated to making available what they need, including the opportunities necessary to unlock their full potential. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, Madam President Pro Tem, esteemed members of the Legislature, Associate Justices of the Supreme Court, and fellow Liberians. When we took office a year ago, we were given the mandate by the Liberian people to steer the nation toward progress and development. It is often said Liberia's challenges stem from the state of its own institution, and that our country's crisis is fundamentally a crisis of governance. We cannot speak about the state of the Republic only in terms of material conditions of the people, the so-called bread and butter issues. We must go beyond policy to address the deeper social and political dynamics that affect us, the undercurrent issues that run deep in our country and society, including addressing historical social privileges that tend to divide us and create tension. We are one people with a common destiny as a nation, and therefore all privileges based on political, economic, social, and cultural lines, and our stereotypes and adversarial to the values of an equitable society. This means divisions based on religion, social status, literacy and illiteracy, gender and policy must not be allowed to divide us and determine how we live as a people. In this regard, I call on our friends on the other side of the political divide, including the opposition parties, to join us in fostering a government of inclusion. Our democracy should not be defined by elections where the winner is perceived to have taken all. Instead, our path should not be on the next election, but the next generation. We must embrace genuine unity and reconciliation. Today, I'm pleased and proud to report that despite the challenges we inherited, we have made meaningful progress in key sectors. Liberia has immense potential for large-scale agriculture that will create jobs, feed our people, and strengthen our economy. However, this vital sector has not received the attention it deserves. Over the past year, we have taken significant steps to advance agriculture and enhance self-sufficiency. To help reduce our reliance on rice import, we cultivate over 4,000 hectares of rice. This year, we aim to double our efforts by cultivating an additional 6,000 hectares. We are constructing 5 mechanization centers in Bong, Lofa, Margibi, Montserrat, and Nimba counties to enable farmers to access essential machinery for improved production. Progress is underway in mechanizing cassava cultivation aimed at both consumption and starch production. We have directed substantial support towards cocoa and oil palm production, resulting in 10,000 hectares of cocoa cultivation and investment in palm oil agro-business. We are also in the process of establishing a palm vegetable oil refining to meet demands commercial production. My administration has increased agriculture budget by over 200% compared to the previous year. Our National Agriculture Plan highlights the value chain with dedicated funding to enhance agribusiness and create jobs. To combat food insecurity and support vulnerable populations, we have funded a comprehensive food security and nutrition surveys to assess food security in our communities. To foster innovation and growth in the agriculture sector, we successfully hosted the National Agriculture Fair in Kakata, Margibi, which now will be reactivated as an annual event with the next one scheduled in Nimba County 2025. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, and members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, a top priority for my administration is the development of our road infrastructure, essential for convenient travel, access service, and boosting the commerce. The poor state of our roads has long contributed to rural neglect and stunted our development. It is unacceptable that out of 13,000 kilometers of proposed road network, only 1,000 kilometers are paved. Improving road connectivity is the cornerstone of our development agenda. In the past year, we delivered on our promise to recondition and maintain major road corridors within the first 100 days. We have continued to maintain 783 kilometers of major road nationwide, making key routes such as Buraville to Bopolu, Wanyama to Foya, Foya to Medicoma, Red Route, Caribbean Pass, resulting in reduced commodity prices. Since January 2024, we expanded the RIA road project from 8 to 20 kilometers of paved road. The Sanekuri to Lugatu Road project is now 85% complete, with 42 kilometers paved, while the Sakripe to Tabeta Road project has reached 50% completion. With financing from the World Bank Rural Economic Transformation Project, RETRAP, we completed the biodiversity study on the Tabeta to Zedru corridor, including Toll Town to Zedru. We have also secured financing and finance design for key corridors, including Zedru to Davistown, Putukan to Kiripo, and Barclayville to Southtown to Clinton. In addition, we are happy to announce that paving the Medina to Rabosport Road will commence in March this year. To enhance safety and vibrancy in Monrovia, we have expanded public spaces by creating alleys, clearing drainage ditches, and installing solar streetlights. In the first quarter of 2025, we anticipate progress in the Tubman Boulevard Overseas Bridge project. Looking ahead, we plan new bridge works, and civil construction on major corridors, ensuring further connectivity infrastructure development across Liberia. Our natural resources should be the source of inclusive development. We have taken decisive actions to combat illicit mining, address environmental degradation, and rebuild public confidence. Honorable Speaker, distinguished members of the 55th Legislature, I am pleased to report that we have received a mineral resource survey report from the government of the People's Republic of China. The report provides new insights in Liberia's mineral resource potential and represents the most comprehensive scientific investigation conducted in over 5 decades. We extend our gratitude to the People's Republic of China for funding this important project. The Ministry of Mines and Energy has already analyzed the data from the survey, and results indicate a significant shift away from the country's previous sole focus on iron ore, diamond, and gold. We have discovered lithium, neodymium, silver, nickel, zinc, uranium, chromium, lead, tin, cobalt, niobium, coltan, tantalum, manganese, copper, zirconium, and molybdenum, among others. I have instructed the Ministry of Justice to act lawfully and promptly to address claims concerning the Mount Blair iron ore deposit in Nimba County. The Liberia Electricity Corporation has been returned to its statutory structure. The corporation successfully negotiated additional electricity import from Côte d'Ivoire and reduced electricity tariffs from Bong and Nimba County. Construction of the 30 megawatt solar power plant in Harrisburg, Montreal County began in 2024. The project is expected to be completed by October 2025. Our plan is to electrify 100,000 households every year using both the grid and the renewable energy sources. Our goal is to achieve a 75% access rate by 2030 and eliminate the existing urban-rural disparity. We believe that energy access is essential to unlocking potentials in agriculture, road, education, healthcare, and tourism. We are encouraged by significant oil and gas discoveries in neighboring Côte d'Ivoire 2021, 2023, 2024, where substantial deposits were found in geological formations similar to those in Liberia in the Upper Basin. Seismic data from our basin have been licensed to major players like Total Energies, Petrobras, and the mid-tier companies such as Murphy. The interest from these global energy giants boosts our optimism for oil and gas exploration in Liberia. Also, Liberia is collaborating with a neighboring country to complete the Africa Atlantic gas pipeline. My government is committed to facilitating its passage through our territory, integrating Liberia's energy infrastructure with renewable sources to meet domestic export needs, and advancing clear energy solutions for our country. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, members of the legislature, in today's globalized world, advancement in telecommunication and digitization offer endless opportunities for for social and economic benefit. Recognizing this, my government is committed to expanding access to affordable, quality digital infrastructure and telecommunication services to drive economic growth. During the past year, the government made significant progress in reforming Liberia's telecom sector. For the first time, we have implemented regulations that provide clarity and transparency for mobile network services, including mobile money and value-added innovation. We are also at the verge of enabling interconnectivity between mobile money providers, allowing citizens to transfer funds across the network. These measures promote fair competition and enhance consumer protection. Last year, we launched a digital transformation initiative focused on digital literacy programs to train young Liberians in various skills. I am pleased to announce that we have trained over 10,000 young people across 15 counties and empowered 50 teams with seed funding to start digital business. We also empowered 4-year degree scholarship to 15 participants, each representing a county. In the next 5 years, the private sector plans to invest $300 million in telecom sector to enhance services and foster innovation as part of Liberia's digital transformation agenda. 2 operators have been licensed for cross-border connectivity, roaming agreements with Sierra Leone, the Gambia, and Ghana, which will lower telecommunications costs for travelers. Additionally, the recently approved Starlight services will provide universal internet access to rural and underserved communities, protecting them from disruptions like previous ACE cable failure that caused significant economic losses. Mr. Vice President, honorable members of the legislature, we cannot reach our ambitious development goals without properly preparing our citizens, especially the youth, through access to quality education. Liberia's once celebrated for its educational system has seen standards decline, depriving men of a fundamental right. Education is not a privilege. In 2024, we inherited an educational sector faced with significant challenges. 2 million in scholarship arrears, poorly qualified teachers, and inadequate infrastructure. Many public schools are deteriorated, with several projects delayed or abandoned. To address these issues, we committed $1 million to clear scholarship arrears, including West Africa's senior examination SEC, with over $500,000 already paid. We assessed 14 counties, validated teaching workforce that transitioning qualified volunteer teachers into our system. We launched $75 million fundamental learning project with USAID, focusing on reading and math for third graders, and equipped 156 public schools with digital learning platforms and solar power. New policies such as the National School Quality Standards and the Center for Excellence will ensure high educational standards. At the primary level, we are launching the One Child, One Chair initiative to address the shortage of chairs for school children nationwide. At the tertiary level, we have assessed the need for renovating the University of Liberia's facility and initiated transformational leadership efforts to build the university endowment, enhancing its national and global effectiveness as a center for academic excellence in the coming year. We have taken deliberate steps to combat hunger and food insecurity in schools by allocating $1 million United States dollars to the school feeding program for primary schools. Our government interventions and investment in the education sector in the coming year will enhance education delivery, giving our children the opportunity they deserve for a brighter future. Mr. Vice President, honorable members of the legislature, health and sanitation are central to my administration's priority, forming a key part of the arrest agenda. And the first in our message, we committed to addressing both historical and emerging challenges in the health sector, assuring access to quality health care for all of our people. Despite significant hurdles, we have made notable progress. Today, we are pleased to report that public health centers in all 15 counties have received essential medicine, and community pharmacy initiative is being piloted nationwide. Maternal and child mortality rates have decreased, with child vaccination rates rising from 64.9% to 73% in 2024. We have also seen improvements in the tuberculosis treatment success rate. However, drug and substance abuse remains an epidemic. As a result of the danger and a wide-ranging impact on our society, we declare drug substance abuse as a health emergency and a threat to national security. To date, we have made steady progress in raising awareness and preventing drug abuse. To demonstrate our commitment, my Vice President and I led the example and by undertaking drug tests. Several at-risk youth have completed rehabilitation, reintegrated into our society. Notably, we acquired 50 acres in Bensonville, Monterey County, where pre-construction activities have begun for a new psychiatric hospital to build mental health and substance abuse. A regional diagnostic center is under development in Balatua County with 38.7 acres secured and pre-construction underway. This center will enhance diagnostic services, particularly in rural Liberia. We intend to establish 3 additional regional diagnosis centers across the country. We are advancing several health infrastructure projects, including 8 of the 15 staff housing in Zredru nearing completion. There are 23 ongoing infrastructure projects, such as construction and renovation of hospital health centers in Zredru, Barclayville, and other parts of the country. In addition, 6 oxygen plants have been commissioned in Monsuado at GFK, Lofa, Nimba, Grand Kira, and Grand Cru. We are pleased to announce that with the support of the Chinese government, we have broken ground for the construction of a $16 million national clinical and diagnostic laboratory at number 14 hospital, military hospital in Margibi County. On sustainable health financing, we are making progress with the National Security Health Insurance Scheme and the bill to create a National Health Equity Fund for universal health coverage will soon be submitted for your consideration. As part of the groundbreaking health initiative, we are addressing the cardiovascular issues in Liberia. In collaboration with the University of Ghana Medical Center, UGMC, we are establishing the state-of-the-art cardiothoracic GFK. The partnership emphasizes cross-training medical professionals equipped in advanced facilities and performing life-saving surgeries. A notable success in the open heart surgery performed on 64-year Mr. Fokpa Cover at the UGMC, with all expenses covered by my administration. By the grace of God, Mr. Cover is here today to share the moment of triumph. Mr. Cover, please stand to be acknowledged. I don't know where Fokpa. Thank you. By mid-2025, our goal is to perform some of these critical surgeries locally at GFK, significantly improving access to cardiac care for all Liberians. Poor sanitation, inadequate clean water supply, and aging infrastructure, especially in Monrovia and other cities, have long posed challenges. 42% of our population still lacks basic toilet facilities. Addressing these public health concerns is a key priority in our development agenda, and significant progress has been made in the past year. We successfully repaired the 1 million gallon city reservoir in central Monrovia with support from the World Bank, restoring water supply for the first time in 10 years. Improvements include new chlorine dosing unit at the White Plains Water Treatment Plant, rehabilitation of a Cardware booster to enhance supply in multiple areas, and expansion of water system in Bushop Island, Rock Hill, Soul Clinic, and New Georgia. We are replacing the 36-inch pipe on the main transmission line from White Plains to Monrovia with a 48-inch pipe. A new water system is under construction in Buffalo City, set for dedication in February. We plan to connect an additional 3,000 homes in Monrovia and Painesville this year. With USAID support, we are conducting the feasibility of rehabilitating the Kakatra-Buchanan water system. This year, we will construct water system for Plebo and Greenville and rehabilitating the Red Roof system. Additionally, over 1,700 new and reconnected customers have benefited from ongoing civic improvement. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President, and esteemed members of the legislature, associate justices of the Supreme Court, fellow Liberians. Our country is fortunate to have many qualified, capable women who have challenged traditional jobs. Gender sensitivity and inclusion is a high priority in my administration. Currently, women hold 39% of the ministerial positions, 31% of deputy minister positions. This trend continues to the superintendent level, where women make up 40% of all appointments. While we celebrate these achievements, we must also address the serious issue facing children and battered women in our country. In 2024, our government made significant strides in promoting women's empowerment and protecting children. We launched a national 116 EBV cell call centers, which provide confidential 24/7 platform for survivors of gender-based violence to report incidents and access vital services, including counseling and legal assistance. We also allocated $1.8 million in plan of International for Liberian Women Empowerment Project, which, with assistance from the World Bank, aims to enhance women economic empowerment through small businesses support and address harmful social norms over 700 communities. This project benefits 36,000 women across the country. Regarding social protection, nearly 4,000 impoverished households in Grand Bassa, Grand Cru counties receive cash transfer from the Recovery of Economic Activity for Liberia Informal Social Employment Realize project. The government disbursed total of $112,812,770 million Liberian dollars and $770 to vulnerable houses. We thank the World Bank for providing the loans for this scheme, as well as the French and other friendly governments. For children's welfare, we launched the Support a Child, Save the Future project, discovering that over 366 children were living on the streets. With the help of the various partners, we identified more than 5,000 children in Montserrat County for assistance, connecting over 4,000 to financial support for schooling. Additionally, more than 600 children are enrolled in family strengthening program. 702 have been placed in 19 public schools, receiving livelihood support for their caregivers. Honorable members of the legislature, a year ago, as we began our stewardship, we declared that business as usual approach to governance will be a thing of the past. We remain committed to promoting openness, transparency, and accountability across our government. In line with this commitment, we have supported the independence of integrity institutions. The General Auditing Commission, GAC, has published results for 60 out of 80 audits, including those conducted before my administration. Key institutions audited include the Executive Protection Unit, the Central Bank, the Government Consolidated Fund, and the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. Some audits conducted before my tenure revealed serious system weaknesses and millions in unaccounted public funds. My government will continue working closely with the GAC, the National Legislature, and Ministry of Justice to prevent theft, waste, and abuse. Unprecedented audits of the Office of the President, the Judiciary, the Office of the Chief Justice, and the Senate demonstrate our collective determination to promote accountability. Similarly, independent auditing agents have embedded internal auditors in 91 out of 131 spending entities to ensure accountability for public funds. We have appointed the Ombudsman after years of delay and introduced performance management and compliance system. Cabinet members and agencies has now signed codes of conduct, performance contract with the President, and I have declared and published our asset as well as signed the code of conduct. The Vice President, Madam Senate Pro Tem, Mr. Speaker, distinguished guests, let us address the present concern that affect every facet of our society: integrity in governance. Last year, I spoke candidly about how systemic corruption undermines trust, hinders progress, and tarnishes our reputation. A new beginning is needed, a Liberia where transparency and accountability are cornerstones of our government. While corruption remains a formidable adversary, we must recognize the progress that we have made. Our determination has led to more transparent systems, established accountability measures, and fostered ethical practices. Citizens are increasingly aware and willing to speak out against corruption, while leaders are committed to integrity. Our integrity institutions have unfettered access to the presidency, reflecting strong political will. Payroll audits across several ministries have removed thousands of ghost names, saving millions. Our actions will not stop at the past. We will institute audits of all expenditures over the past year and address any violation of public trust. Liberians yearn for decisive action against this national menace, and I vow to deliver. We call on national legislature and the judiciary to join us as allies in this patriotic journey. Acting on audit reports and fast-tracking corruption cases will restore public confidence in government. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, legislators and social justices of the Supreme Court, and fellow Liberians, in 2024, public service underwent significant reforms, focused on increasing accountability and efficiency. The Employees Status Regulation Project improved payroll integrity and saved over $8 million. We also introduced national policy guidelines for recruiting independent consultants, reducing their numbers from nearly 1,000 to 94, and cutting costs from 6.1 million to 1.4 million, saving an additional 4.7 million. These initiatives further transparency and enhance public service efficiency. We conducted a workforce analysis that revealed a skilled gap on aging workforce, a 31% underrepresentation of women, guiding target initiative for a more diverse and capable workforce. Key reforms also included reconstructing the Civil Service Board of Appeal, launching National Civil Service Training Center, reviewing wage disparity, and improving retirement pension process. In view of this, we call on you, members of the legislature, to consider the timely passage of the draft bill to fully operationalize the Civil Service Commission in keeping with Article 89 of the Constitution. On the communication front, the Liberia broadcasting system is making significant progress in the construction of the new television and radio expansion complex, which is ahead of schedule. This $5.5 million project, funded by the People's Republic of China through the China Aid, includes complete refurbishing of the existing infrastructure and introduction of modern advanced equipment. Once completed, LBS radio and television network will experience substantial improvement in the ability to inform, educate, and entertain the public. My government is dedicated to promoting freedom of the press, fostering an environment where the media can thrive. To support this commitment, operational licenses were issued to 45 new print and electronic media institutions during the period under review. In an age where information is more accessible than ever, social media shapes our agenda. The importance of a responsible press cannot be overstated. As citizens, we must encourage ethical journalism that prioritizes truth and accuracy over sensitization as a role of responsible press in preserving our democracy is indispensable. As we face the daunting challenges of climate change and global warming, Liberia remains steadfast in advancing environmental sustainability. In 2024, we developed regulations to conserve air, water, and soil with international climate financing. We are constructing coastal defense to protect vulnerable areas such as West Point, Greenville City from sea erosion. We have enhanced climate reporting by establishing a meteorological center and the Climate Smart Lab at the University of Liberia. Our commitment extends to enforcing environmental laws and signing international agreements to mitigate climate impact. Liberia's nationally determined contributions, NDC, are ambitious, aiming for 64% reduction in emission by 2030. We are expanding our NDCs to encompass freshwater ecosystem, land rights, and youth involvement, reinforcing Liberia's leadership in global climate fight. Positioned to benefit from the carbon market, with over 42% of the Upper Guinea rainforest under our stewardship, we are developing a legal framework to facilitate participation in these markets. The National Climate Change Steering Committee is leading the efforts with support from key international partners. Honorable members of the legislature, as we address people today, we focus on critical issues of land governance. Young our citizens, land is one of our most vital resources, a gift from God and our forefathers that offers opportunities for livelihood and economic development through investment. However, Liberia faces escalating land conflict. Our court systems are overwhelmed with land cases, and headlines highlight disputes between investors and communities alongside powerful individuals grabbing land from the vulnerable. Land conflicts in Liberia are rooted in historical grievances, poor governance, and increasing pressure on land use. I assure you that we are taking bold steps toward change, ensuring our people receive historical justice and, more importantly, providing them with opportunity to make productive use of their resources. In 2024, we issued these to 24 land-owning communities, securing almost 1 million acres land and benefiting more than 200,000 Liberians. We also imposed moratorium on public land sales to curb speculative grabs, which will be lifted only after guidelines are established. These efforts are aimed to enhance tenure security, resolve conflict, and promote sustainable land investment throughout Liberia. We will continue to prioritize crucial efforts. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, members of the House of Representatives, Madam Pro Tempore, members of the Senate, Associate Justices, and members of the Judiciary, Madam Dean, members of the Cabinet, my government has given Liberia's standing in the world a top priority following reputational setbacks in the last few years. In past year, Liberia's foreign policy and external relations have seen many shifts that have lifted country's image internationally. These steps have begun to restore the country's reputation, repositioning us as a respected actor, both regional and globally. During the year, we stepped up effort to establish new bilateral relations while engaging with others to deepen existing relations. Key initiatives have raised Liberia's profile and reinforced our commitment to stability, peace, and economic development. I am pleased to announce that we established diplomatic relations with 6 new countries: Barbados, Bahrain, Uzbekistan, Croatia, El Salvador, and Bolivia. We also signed 9 new bilateral cooperation agreements with our eastern neighbor, Cote d'Ivoire, and signed 15 new agreements with Morocco in the area of trade, agriculture, education, cultural exchange, mining, and natural resource governance, among others. Our engagement with the European Union has resulted in 108 million euros, about 110,000 million United States dollars budget envelope, reflecting the international community's confidence in Liberia's future. Focusing on our home region, Liberia took a leadership role in revitalizing the Mano River Union by convening a meeting of ministries of foreign affairs, finance, and defense in Monrovia. Subsequently, Liberia negotiated a roadmap with Morocco on behalf of the sub-regional, leading to an agreement that included funding for the construction of a new Mano River Union Secretariat office. Within ECOWAS, Liberia has supported efforts to preserve the unity of the community by behind the scenes engaging with the Alliance of the Sahel States, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. These efforts continue. Since 1961, when Liberia served a half term on the UN Security Council, in 1970, when Liberia's Angie Brooks Randolph served a 1-year term as President of the UN General Assembly, Liberia had not held any comparable global governance leadership role. We have to change this. We launched at the General Assembly in September 2024 of Liberia's bid for a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council 2026-2027 term. I am proud to report that Liberia has secured key endorsement for its candidacy, receiving support from both the African Union and ECOWAS. Liberia stood with Ukraine in protecting its sovereignty and has supported ceasefire in Gaza, as well as return of the UN Agency for Palestine to serve humanitarian needs of the people in Gaza. Additionally, we believe our global standing has been enhanced through the reform of our passport system. In the bid to ensure integrity and international acceptance of our passport, we have cancelled and recalled all privileged passports issued for the past 6 years. a measure that is now being adopted by neighboring countries. This measure ensures that Liberia's passport system is secured, reliable, and trusted worldwide. Furthermore, we have improved the efficiency of our passport services for timely and accessible processing for all citizens. These actions, along the new interim security and screening protocols, have improved the application and the processing system. This has resulted in a 60% decrease in passport processing time, safeguarding the integrity of the passport as a reliable global identity for our citizens. In view of this, I call on all our Liberians to join us in making 2025 a year to regain Liberia's global prominence. Mr. Vice President, Speaker, members of the legislature, my government believes that Liberia's diaspora community is potentially one of the country's important development assets. The diaspora is an extension of our citizenry, having left homeland in large numbers in the aftermath of the bloody 1980 military coup d'etat and devastating civil war that ensued. When we addressed this body in January last year, we made clear that Liberians in the diaspora have at stake the future of their country, and my administration will ensure that their contribution to Liberia are institutionalized and fully honored. It is in this recognition of that we instituted policies that have engaged members of the diaspora community in the past year across all facets of our national life and development. A new program styled Annual Year of Return was designed to organize the yearly visit of Liberians to their motherland in ways that make their stay not only welcoming, but also the means to explore opportunities to bond them with their compatriots and invest in the development of our country. As my government proposed last year, the highlight of this engagement will be the holding of the first Liberia Diaspora Conference, National Development in April 2025 in Washington, D.C. This conference will provide a platform to discuss, re-engage, and participate in their country's development. Once again, I would like to recommend the legislature and previous administration to commend them for their work to eliminate the unjust barriers imposed on citizens who have chosen to seek opportunities abroad. I am pleased that the slogan, "Once a Liberian, always a Liberian," now holds genuine significance. During the past year in review, the nation mourned the loss of some of its prominent citizens. Among the many who transitioned include former Vice President Benedict Warner, former Interim Vice President Senator John Gray, former Nimba County Senator Prince Bar Johnson, former Montserrat County Senator Joyce Musus Freeman Sumo, former Lofa County Senator Sumo G. Kubi, former Grand Crew County Senator and former President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate, Petrus Sebe Watterson, and esteemed elder Alhaji Amadou Sharif, among many others. The full list will be published. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, and members of the House of Representatives, Madam Pro Tem, members of the Senate, Associate Justices, members of the Judiciary. Before I conclude this address, let me invoke another moment of truth in the supreme interest of our country. Beyond my assessment of the challenges we face, certain intangibles impel my actions as follows. One, I will propose an action to plan to address the state of our nation's unity. Two, I will propose a review of our Constitution to address shortcomings in the organic law. Number three, we will propose comprehensive electoral reforms to strengthen our electoral process and democratic credentials. Four, I will institute plans for the proper burial of the former President William R. Turnbull and Samuel K. Doe. Five, we will propose a plan to recognize ECOWAS for their vital contribution to maintaining peace and stability during our crucial times in Liberia's history. Six, we will convene the National Conference on Post-War Infrastructure to discuss the rebuilding and the development of our post-war infrastructure. We started this journey together with the faith that we can face and address our difficulties, course, correct, and set apart for transformed future. Let us with compassion continue to stand united as we move forward hand in hand towards the prosperous, inclusive future of our nation. After 1 year of office, we can confidently say that the state of our nation is better than when we began. Our progress in 12 productive months is just the beginning, and prospects are encouraging. As we begin to implement and achieve the arrest agenda for inclusive development goals this year, in the coming years, we move decidedly and resolutely forward, thinking Liberia, loving Liberia, and building Liberia together. May God bless us all and serve our republic. Thank you.
After drinking, just shake your hands.
What?
After drinking, we just shake your hands.
Oh, okay.
Drink some more.
That's right.
Both committees should please escort the president. Executive committee.
I was going to make sure with
Hello.
Honorable colleagues, session still in order. Please have a seat. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having exhausted the purpose for which we have convened here today, the presiding will entertain a motion for the dissolution or the adjournment of today's section. Senator Johnny K. Perry of Bone County wait for him. We recognize Senator James Barney.
Mr. President, I move that this adjourned section be adjourned. If I can obtain a second.
Honorable Mary G. Johnson, Representative, District Number 2, Grand Jida County.
Honorable Speaker, I, Mary G. Johnson, of District Number 2, Grand Jida County. So, second.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it has been moved and seconded, having exhausted the purpose for which the legislature convened in the joint legislative section. With the motion duly seconded, are you all ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. All those against, nay. Those abstaining, please raise your right hand. Distinguished colleagues, with the aye taking the vote, the joint session is hereby adjourned and it is hereby so ordered.
Please permit me to announce the protocol for the reception. Please permit me to announce the protocol for the reception. The President the Vice President, the National Legislature, the Diplomatic and Consular Code and International Organization. We have the reception under the white tent on my far right. Members of the SOE, deputy ministers, and special invited guests will move to my far left, under the tent on my far left, for the reception. The cabinet ministers also, along with the president, the vice president, and the special guests at my far right.
You should see him. Yeah. Say Kwame Clement. My man, right there, look. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been his President Boakai spoke for just about an hour and 20 minutes, talking about the economy, about electricity, about water, about the state of affairs at LBS. He covered literally the entire waterfront. Josh, what says you?
To be honest, like I said before the speech, I knew that the president was definitely going to take his time to report. In addition to what you just stated, the president spoke importantly about the growth, talking about the reserve, talking about inflation coming from 10.1 to now 7.1%, or 7.4 if I'm exact. I stand to be corrected. And he also spoke about The new agreement being signed with Cote d'Ivoire to import additional current. He talked about the solar farm in Harrisburg. The president talked about other negotiations on the way. The president also talked about the Roberts International Airport, the level of investment being made into it, and talk about negotiations that are ongoing. So the president covered every sector basically. He talked about the agriculture sector, like I stated previously, the 4,000 hectares of rice cultivation. He talked about this year doubling that by another 6,000 more. So there he talked about how he has increased agricultural budget in his government by more than 200%. The president went on to speak about education, the one child, one chair policy. We've seen classrooms where our brothers and sisters, students were without chairs. So the president covered a range of issues. I mean, we'll take the whole next week to break it down sector by sector, because what President Boakai did today for me was extensive. He covered almost everywhere. He talked about our foreign reserve. He talked about where we are as over 400 million today in our reserve. The president talked about the debt portfolio of almost 53% GDP. The president talked about $2.5 billion debt portfolio that he inherited from the past government. He talked about the status of the economy when he came to power. He talked about his government reduction in rice prices, petroleum fuel prices, and a whole lot of different things. The president talked about healthcare, insurance. He talked about the harmonization a little bit when he talked about his government actions now to increase civil servant salary. The president also talked about reforms, but a few things that struck me most, Mr. Clement, were the president actions that he said he would be proposing for a burial of the late President William Arotabo and late President Samuel Kayano. For me, I think that is one of importance and that of reconciliation, significance to the country given where we've come from. So it's a lot.
No, I couldn't agree more, especially on the burial of the two former presidents, a significant step forward towards national reconciliation. The place is winding down now, people leaving. The president spoke for about an hour and 20 minutes, fulfilling his constitutional duty per Section 58 of the Constitution to report to the Liberian people through the legislature about the state of affairs in the country. A tradition dating back to 1848 when President Joseph Jenkins Robert, our founding president, gave the first State of the Nation address, and that has persisted down through the years, except for some period of interruption, particularly during the Civil War. Another rituals of our democracy has come to an end. We'll be doing this again next year when the president gives another State of the Nation address. You want to wrap it up, say something? Let's wrap it up.
Absolutely. I just want to say, for me in particular, as one of those guys who support the rescue mission, it is our hope that every year will be better. And I mean, I could not agree with President Boakai today for the job, I mean, that he's done so far. I mean, we are not there yet. He talked about the role we play in the sub-region, especially in the ECOWAS, the Manoel, and I mean, like you said, look, there's a lot to unpack here, but we just have to, right now people are moving around, and like I said, I mean, we look forward to the next sooner, hopefully the next numbers, like the president said, he intends to decrease, especially when it comes to inflation. So like I said from the beginning of this coverage here today, that President Boakai was going to take his time, but overall, the 1 hour 20 minutes that he stood for, it speaks to his energy, the strength of the president. I mean, fellow Liberians, you hear a lot of different things, but now you've heard from your president, and I mean, I could not have been any proud of someone who has been referred to as a rescue general. I mean, I'm grateful for what the president was able to accomplish here today. So we want to say thank you, and we'll send it back to, if there's
let me say, let's wrap it up. Say thanks to our guys behind the scene, the guys who you're not seeing on camera, all the technicians who've made this possible, this live coverage of the State of the Nation address by President Boakai. I'm Kwame Clement, and along with George Lobo, I want to say thank you, all of you, for tuning in. Those of you outside Liberia, particularly in the Liberian diaspora, thanks for tuning in, and thanks to all of the people at LBS who made this possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, lovely rest of the time. Control.